The difference is that instead of having one single parabola, we have double parabolas. They can be open up and down or left and right. When it's left and right, it is called horizontal or vertical. Horizontal. Up and down obviously is vertical. Once again, on your blue paper, you have all this nice information. The one thing you got to be careful about is this little negative. Remember, for ellipses, we have a plus here. For hyperbola, we have a negative. Now, another thing you need to notice is that A is always the positive one. It's not always the biggest one. It's the positive one. In other words, this A, wherever the negative sign is, the one before is the plus. As I was saying, you need to note that A is always the number that comes first. Meaning, A is always the first thing that you see. It doesn't have to be the biggest one. The second thing you have to notice is that C squared is no longer A squared minus B squared. It is now A squared plus B squared. Note that if A is not always the big number and you do minus, you might end up with a negative number as a square, which won't make any sense. So now you have to note that C squared is A squared plus B squared. Let me show you one example. I don't know why the graph looks kind of funky, but hopefully we can work with this. Let's look at example 1. I have 9x squared minus y squared equals 81. What should I do? Divide everything by 81. Remember, we want it equal to 1. That's what the equation says. So I will end up with 9 divided by 81 is x squared over 9 minus y squared over 81 is equal to 1. You think it's horizontal or vertical? It is horizontal. Remember, it's all about what came first. What came first? The x, therefore it's horizontal. Look at this. It is horizontal if the x comes first. If the y comes first, it is vertical. You have to remember that. It's no longer like ellipses. That's why I'm giving you the blue paper to make the difference. All right. This question is for Hope now. Hope, what is the value of A? What's the value of A? 3. It doesn't have to be the big one. What's the value of B? 9. What is the value of C? Square root of? Square root of 90. Because C squared is A squared plus B squared. Now you're adding. So here I will say A is equal to 3. B is equal to 9. C will be equal to C. Look at this. C squared is now A squared plus B squared, meaning 81 plus 9, square root of 90. And square root of 90 is actually 30 times 10. Let's do 90. 90 is 9 times 10, meaning 3 square root of 10, right? If I want to graph this, here's the first thing I will do. I will go ahead and put the center, which is at 0, 0. The center remains the same thing we've been doing with the circle and the ellipse. After the center, this one tells me A value, my A here is 3. So 1, 2, 3, I have 1 here. 1, 2, 3, I have another one here. Now, my B value is what? 9. So I will count 9 up here. 3, you gotta pay close attention to this. 2, 4, 6, 9 is right here. And I will do the same thing here. All right, once I complete that, I write my A and my B. The next thing to do is to build a rectangle.
So build a rectangle connecting all these points, meaning this. My rectangle will look like this. Roy, I need you to sit here and to be quiet. Thank you. After building your rectangle, the next thing I want you to do is build the diagonals to that rectangle. So I will have one here and one here, something like this. Mine is kind of you see the diagonals? And once you complete your diagonals, you're almost done. All you have to do is now build your hyperbola. If we go through this point, and if we have these two lines as asymptote, these lines. You remember what an asymptote is, right? It will come like this, close to this, touch the point, curve, and come back down. The reason I'm having it horizontal is because the biggest number was below the x. I know it's a lot of steps, but you gotta know it. Let's go ahead and build the second one. What's the value of A?
7.
What's the value of B? 6. What's the value of C? Square root of 85. Can you simplify that? 85 is 5 times what?
17.
5 times 17. 5 and 17 are both prime. Now, here's the next thing. One thing that I forgot. 3 square root of 10 will be located somewhere here. The focus point is always inside the parabola. Always. So it will be somewhere there. I just forgot to plug those in. Alright, let's go ahead and try to build this parabola. It seems like on my x, I'm moving 7 units. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. On my y, I'm moving 6 units. And from here, I'll build the little box. Once you have the box, you will build the diagonals. And because we know it's horizontal, all I have to do is graph it now. And if we come close to the lines, because these are asymptotes, if we curve at this vertex and come closer to this, it is very important for you to put arrows because those will go forever. You understand why I graph it horizontally, right? Because the first one was an X. If the first thing is X, it's horizontal. If the first thing is Y, it's vertical. Refer to your blue paper. First one is X, Charlie. The first one is X, it is horizontal. The first one is Y, it is vertical. All right, let's see if this is also horizontal, but it's all for you to try. So go ahead and try the next one. Let me know when you're done. Let's do it together. What's the value? What's the center? The center is at 0, -3. And we want to know the vertices. So I will label this as vertex, covertices, and foci. Now, on the hyperbola, we are not so familiar with covertices. You know, covertices are vertices also. So they call all of them vertices. But I prefer that you still label it as covertex. So I will go ahead and put my parentheses, just like we did on the previous one. Now, the foci, we always go with the first one. So the first one being x, it doesn't matter if,
At this point, A and B can be different. A can be here, it doesn't matter. Big number can be anywhere.
so, but I know that x is affected by the value of 7. Y is affected by 6, and f, or the foci, will be affected by 49 plus 36, and we said earlier it was square root of 85. Now, since it's below x, it means that -3 will stay constant.
It's the same thing we did with ellipses. The only difference is that we care less about who is A and B for now.
So if -3 stays constant, it stays constant here, and 0 will be the one staying constant on this one. Yes. It's -3. Thank you. Here's what we change now. This one we changed by 7. So I will have -7 and +7. This one we changed by 6. That will be -3 minus 6 will give me -9. -3 plus 6 will give me 3. And the last one, that will be negative square root of 85 and a positive square root of 85. By now, you should be very good at this, right?
So,
Yes.
one question on the vertices.
All right, here's an example 4. It says, write equation in standard form. Find foci and vertices. Note that it says vertices. It doesn't distinguish between vertices and covertices. It's okay because it doesn't matter which one is the biggest number.
What we care is who came first. So, what would be the first step, Freddy? Divide everything by 100. And if you divide everything by 100, you end up with 25 over 100 will give you x squared over 4. Very good. Minus y squared over 25 is equal to 1. And again, I start with center, and I have vertices, and I have the foci. Coordinates of the center, Josh. Coordinates of the center. Center is at 0, 0. I know I will have 2 points for this vertex, 2 points for the covertex, and 2 points for the foci. But before I get to this, the vertex, let's talk about which one is being affected by the first thing. What is affecting the first one? What number? It's 2. What about CV? 5. And the last one? Square root of 29. Now, the first one, the 2 is affecting x or y? X. So the y stays the same. 5 is affecting the y, so the x stays the
How do you
same.
get square root of 29?
By adding 25 and 4.
And then
Square root,
of that?
yes. Not done yet. For this, it's easy to know that I will have negative square root of 29 and square root of 29. This one I will have -2 and 2. This one I will have -5 and 5.
Charlie, you understand now why graphing is not always possible?
All right, example 5. Example 5 this time is giving us the foci and the vertices, and we want to write the equation of the
Hyperbola. If we have the foci and the vertices, all we got to do is find first what?
the center. And what would be the center?
0, 0?
Center is at 0, 0. How do you know?
It's actually this plus this over 2. 3 minus 3, 0 divided by 2, 0. 0 plus 0 divided by 2, 0.
Now that we have the center, we have half of the equation.
Now, here's the next thing. Which one will come first, x or y?
Does it matter?
It matters. It does matter. But which one will come first? The x. You want to know why? Because x is the one changing. For the foci and vertices, x is changing.
So I know my equation will be x squared over something, y squared over something equals 1. And what's in between, plus or minus? Minus. You gotta put a minus there because it's a hyperbola.
Now, we need to know now the value of the vertex, of the first element. What do you think goes below x? Raise your hand if you know it.
If I subtract 9 from both sides, I will end up with 16 is equal to b squared. And that's what we go down here.
You always gotta check what's given. Always.
One last one, and I will let y'all handle the homework.
I'm looking at the foci, Charlie. The foci is 2, 4, 2, negative 6. What information is it bringing you most likely?
A, B, or C? I will get C from the foci, and I will get A from the vertex. But before that, I can find the center. To find the center, I will ask Vanessa.
Vanessa, what's the center? Use the midpoint. That's exactly how you find the center. This is what I will do.
I can use 2 plus 2 over 2 and 4 minus 6 over 2. And this one will give me 2, negative 1. Do I have to use the foci?
No, I can use this one also. 2 plus 2 is 4. Divide by 2 will give me 2. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. Divide by 2, the same negative 1. It doesn't matter which point.
Now that we have the center, she's ahead. Now she's telling me already which one is coming first. She said y is gonna come first, and that is correct.
I'm so confused as you got that.
Which one is changing on the vertex? Y. So y comes first. Whatever one is changing comes first.
Oh, I'm talking about the center. Oh,
The midpoint?
yeah.
I literally wrote it down here for you.
No, I mean,
So all you have to do is this. You add the x's, divide by 2,
yeah.
and then you add the y's and divide by 2.
On both.
Huh?
On both.
No, only on one, either foci or vertex.
Doesn't matter which
It doesn't matter.
Oh, okay.
You will get the same thing. So I know a portion of my equation will be y plus 1, the whole thing squared. And I will have x minus 2, the whole thing squared, with a negative in between, equals 1. Now, I'm just halfway done. I need to know the value of
C and A. Let me ask Enrique, what is the value of C? C, not C squared. What is the value of C, Ian? Show me with your hands. Jordan, what's the value of C? Guys, C is the distance between the center and the foci. What is it? It's not your nose.
How do you find,
What is it?
what do we use to find that?
Guys, here's your center and here's your foci. The distance between 2 and 2, there's no distance. But negative 1 and 4, it's 5. Thank you.
that distance is 5. So I'll put 5 here. Why don't you find now A?
It's again the distance from the center to the vertices. From 2 to 2 is, we don't care because that's not changing. But from negative 1 to negative 5, or from negative 1 to positive 3, what is that? 4. Negative 1, you gotta go to 0, 1, 2, 3. Or negative 1 to negative 5, that would be 4 units.
Now I know already A is 4, so here I have 16. Remember, A goes below the first one. A always goes below the first one. Now for C, I will say 25 is equal to 16 plus b squared. So b squared is equal to 9. And I will write 9 here. Any question?